The so-called obedient of Obi, I see that they will crash. There won't be nothing like obedient. And obedient will begin to expose themselves. There are some fraudulent things in obedient. Honestly, Obi will not be president of Nigeria. Even when the second vice president, first vice president, second vice president. But Obi say won't become Nigerian president 2027. That one they joke. And that in obedient too, they joke. Because the obedient, they don't enter one way. When you fire one way, what will happen? They will arrest you. I'm only saying what the Lord reveals to me, not what man says or what anybody think. Let me tell you one thing that you don't know, that this government did not know. I've been saying it though. Watch out ethnicity and religious crisis. Watch out ethnicity and religious crisis. Very well, right? The Igbos, they are tired of this world called Nigeria. Hausa is not the problem, but the Igbos. Any Igbo can go against it. You can lambast me, you can insult me, it's not my business. It gives me courage, it gives me more glory and blessing. Your insult. Igbo, they are the problems of this country. They are desperate of power. They want to rule Nigeria at all costs. And I've not seen them ruling Nigeria, even in coming dispensation. Let them bring, when 10 trillion will be come out. Igbos, they are betrayal of themselves. People cannot control Nigeria. Let's be realistic. Let's be honest with ourselves. But they don't understand. Instead of them to seek wisdom, they are flexing muscle. And that's not the answer. That's what Tinubu does not even know. Obasanjo, who is advocating for them, they are the one who spoil it. All these Obasanjo, Yakubu Gowon, who are they? Many of them. So Obasanjo wants to make an amendment now, when it's too late. Tell the Baba to go and sleep. We can't make any amendments. Igbo, there's an error at the beginning. A course is on you. If you don't reverse that course, Igbo, you can't be president of anything in Nigeria. Note and underline: wisdom, understanding, knowledge. That's all you need. Sincerely, you know, I've given him different formulas. This is all to do. They have named me APC prophet. If I now talk against APC, I'll be a prophet of so. Just like Anambra State, I warned the APC man. So many of them. Even if Mossab terrorist group can talk, will I reply them? When Iwasuri was in need, he sent a delegate to me. I didn't listen to them. When I now want them, I talk about, look at the situation. It's not genocide they are talking about. Genocide have been since time of Obasanjo.
Very well, sir.
I don't even understand.
Yes, sir.
Then we don't want to say, listen to the truth. They forgot history. They forget the truth in Nigeria. That's it. And I can tell you, church, right, must lead the leaders by telling them what it is, how to rule. The holding prophets, they are the one ruling, telling the kings what they should do and what not to do.
Very well, sir.
But nowadays, they believe that if you talk, you can't talk individually without talking about a nation. I don't know if you understand.
Very well.
A prophet will go to a king because they are the head. Sir, you want to do something tomorrow, don't do it too. Otherwise, this country will collapse. Sir, you want to trade with so. Look at a king wants to go to war. Many people say, go. One prophet just say, if you go, sir, you won't come back. Yes, sir. He said, I said to him, I know you won't talk good about me. Many people believe that we won't talk good about this government. They don't know that we act as the Lord says. PDP is not in this system. They are not in the radar. It's ADC and APC. PDP is dead. Whatever they are doing, they are dead. And that is the truth. That is why, as a Christian, you must know what will happen in a moment. We need wisdom to manage the crisis at hand. Wisdom. If you don't apply wisdom, I'm telling you honestly, it will sacrifice the second time. This American invasion is beyond that. It's to fight Tinubu. Genocide is just a tag.
Very well, sir.
A step.
Oh, yes, sir.
Why am I fighting? I'm fighting because you don't understand. I'm fighting you because you don't listen. But beyond that, but many people doesn't understand. Genocide is not during Jonathan, no genocide. During Buhari, it's the highest.
Yes, sir.
And Buhari does not say anything. Now this man is trying a little bit. I must be honest to myself, to ourselves.
Well, before we dive into Primate Ayodele's controversial statement, let's begin with a moment of reflection. Because Nigeria today is standing at a crossroad as we speak. A nation with more than 200 million people, over 250 ethnic groups, and decades of shared pains, shared victories, and shared failures. A country where every tribe has cried, every tribe has bled, and every tribe has contributed utmostly. But in the middle of our collective struggle, there exists a dangerous trend: religious entrepreneurs who disguise personal opinions as prophecy. Every election cycle, these individuals rise, speaking as though they own the spiritual switchboard of heaven. They declare curses on entire ethnic groups, predict political doomsday, and speak with an authority that is neither divine nor logical. And today, one of such figures, Primate Ayodele, has stepped into the spotlight again. This time, not to unite, not to heal, but to pour petrol on Nigeria's already fragile ethnic fabric, casually demonizing an entire people, the Igbo people, and rewriting history with reckless confidence. He says Igbos are a problem of Nigeria. peterobi and Obidient movement will crash. An Igbo man should never dream of becoming president. Igbos are costing leadership. Hausas are not problem, but the Igbo people. Igbos are desperate for power and will never rule Nigeria in the next dispensation. Masob is a terrorist group. Genocide claims are only to fight President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. According to his context, he is actually citing that Igbos are pushing this very narrative. He also maintained that PDP is dead. Only APC and ADC matter at the moment. So we are going to be taking this one after the other. These are not just opinions to me. These are inflammatory, divisive, historically inaccurate, politically dangerous statements dressed up as prophecy. So today, we will respond not with insult, not with hate, but with facts, history, and truth. Because Nigeria cannot heal if voices of division are allowed to speak unchallenged. Let's talk about the claim that Igbos are the problem of Nigeria. To me, this is actually a reckless and false claim. Historically, the Igbo people have been victims, not architects of Nigeria's deepest crisis, or the problem, so to say. Let's reference on the 1966 pogrom, the civil war, the decade of political marginalization. Igbos have carried wounds, not weapons against Nigeria. So saying Igbos are the problem of Nigeria is not prophecy. It is ethnic profiling, pure and simple. No tribe is the problem of Nigeria. Nigeria's issues are systemic: failure of leadership, corruption, military coups, oil dependency, poor federal infrastructures, weak institutions, insecurity, and a constitution that decentralizes poverty but centralizes power. Nigeria is the problem of the Nigerians. Basically, even the Igbos. Nigeria is the problem of Igbos, not the other way around. Secondly, let's go into the Igbo man, which he said would never, be the president of Nigeria. This is a statement of disgrace. If a religious leader stands on national television to tell over 40 million people to never dream, then the disgrace is not on the dreamers, but on the speaker. It's the same ideology that justified why, first, no Igbo man has ruled Nigeria democratically since 1960. Secondly, key federal appointment continually sideline the Southeast people. Thirdly, the region receives some of the lowest federal infrastructure investment. If we are being honest, Nigeria has been the problem of the Igbo man, not the other way around, as I said. Thirdly, he mentioned that Obidient are joking, and this is him misunderstanding a socio-political movement. The Obidient movement was the first time Nigerian youths across tribes, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Ido, Mativi, Kanru, Edo, united around good governance, not ethnicity. Calling that a joke exposes only one thing: a fear of change from the old political priesthood. The movement may not have won the presidency, which we actually saw what they declared, but it changed completely the political consciousness forever. He also said that the Igbos don't want Nigeria to succeed. This is also a dangerous fabrication. If the Igbo people do not want Nigeria to succeed, why are they the major drivers of industry, commerce, manufacturing, transportation, technology, export market, entertainment, and education? Why do Igbos invest more outside their homeland than within it? Why do they build businesses, estates, industries, and markets in every major city in Nigeria? People who don't want Nigeria to succeed do not pour billions into the Nigerian economy, and that is a simple response to that. Let's go into the claim that Hausas are not the problem but the Igbos. He also actually attempting the same thing. This is an attempt to, pit tribes against each other. This is how war starts. This is how distrust grows. This is the language of men who want attention, not peace. No tribe is a problem. Every tribe has extremists, moderate heroes, and villains. Painting one group as saint and another as devil is irresponsible, callous, and poisonous. Now, let's also hint on his claim that MASSOB is a terrorist group. This is, to me, false and misleading. MASSOB is a separatist group, not a terrorist organization as designated by Nigeria. Their ideology can be debated, but carelessly labeling them terrorists without legal backing is a complete propaganda, not prophecy. He also maintained that genocide claims are to fight Tinubu. This is, to me, an uninformed assertion. Genocide debate in Nigeria existed before Tinubu, before Buhari, before Jonathan. These conversations trace back to the civil war and various communal conflicts. Reducing human suffering to politics is insensitive and shallow. He said PDP is dead, only APC and ADC matter. Political gambling in the name of prophecy. This is what I call it. This is not a prophecy. This is political punditry wrapped with spiritual branding. Any party can die and or rise in Nigeria. We have seen NLC disappear, SDP vanish, ANPP merge, CPC dissolve, PDP shrink, APC emerge. Politics is fluid, not spiritual destiny. Now, this is my direct response to this. Why people like Primate Ayodele should have no business in politics. First, he weaponizes prophecy to inflame ethnic tension. This is exactly what he just did. Secondly, he promotes division instead of national unity. Thirdly, he speaks without historical understanding. Fourth, he uses spiritual authority to influence political emotions. Fifth, he lacks objective and neutrality. Sixth, he shifts prophecy to fit political trends, never consistent. 7. I also saw ethnic bigotry in his statement. 8. He undermines democratic principle by telling millions not to aspire. Religious leaders should guide, not scatter. They should heal, not wound. They should unify, not divide. When a prophet becomes a politician with a Bible, he stops being a prophet. Talking about historical reference, why Igbos should not be seen as enemies of Nigeria. From independence to present day, Igbos have contributed immensely to Nigeria's survival. Talking about Nnamdi Azikiwe, he played a political and critical role in Nigeria's independence. He was a nationalist, not a tribalist. As a matter of fact, he pushed for the amalgamation. Secondly, the Igbo entrepreneurship spirit. They rebuilt their economy from 20 pounds after the war to becoming Nigeria's commercial backbone today. Thirdly, military and civil service contribution. From soldiers to scientists, the Southeast has produced brilliant national actors. Fourth, faith in national projects. Despite marginalization, Igbos continue to invest across Nigeria more than any other ethnic group. If you have any, let me know in the comment section. Fifth, cultural harmony. Igbos blend easily with other cultures, building communities everywhere. People who are enemies of a nation do not invest in its market, schools, economy, infrastructure, and dreams. And this can never be a debate. Conclusively, Nigeria has suffered enough wars, coups, massacres, terrorism, corruption, and division. The last thing we need is a prophet using the pulpit as the last speaker of hate. What Primate Ayodele said is not a prophecy. It is a political gossip, baptized with spiritual language. And when such statements go unchallenged, they plant seeds that can grow into forests of conflict. But Nigeria must rise above voices of fear, above voices of division, above voices that tell some citizens to never dream. Because a nation becomes great when every child, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, TV, Fulani, Kanuri, Ibibio, Nupe, can look into the future and say, my dream is valid. My destiny, my identity is not a limitation, and Nigeria belongs to all of us. Let truth speak louder than prophecy. Let history guard where emotion fails, and let unity silence every voice that thrives on division. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. As Igbo perspective say it the way it is, we tell it the way the mainstream media will never. Thank you for watching.